The diplomatic chamber aboard the human vessel Defiant Dawn hummed with the quiet efficiency of advanced technology. Jack Harrison stood near the observation window, his calloused hands clasped behind his back as he watched the swirling nebula outside paint the darkness in shades of violet and gold. He'd spent 15 years as a frontier explorer, mapping uncharted systems and making first contact with species the Galactic Council had overlooked. He was comfortable with aliens, comfortable with the unexpected, but he wasn't prepared for this. "The Emperor sent me to be his wife," whispered the shy young alien woman standing before him, her 4 delicate hands trembling as they clutched the ceremonial binding cloth, a shimmering fabric that seemed to shift colors with her emotional state. Currently, it flickered between pale blue and anxious silver. Jack turned slowly, his weathered face creasing with confusion. The woman girl, really. She couldn't have been more than the equivalent of 19 in human years, kept her large, opalescent eyes fixed on the polished floor. Her skin held an ethereal lavender hue, and the traditional robes of the Shikari royal court hung loose on her slight frame. 2 small horns curved gracefully from her temples, adorned with golden rings that marked her status. "I'm sorry," Jack said carefully, his translator earpiece working overtime to parse the formal dialect she spoke. "There must be some mistake." "I'm not Captain Jack Harrison of Earth," she interrupted, her voice barely audible. "Savior of the Shikari colony on Vex Prime. The Emperor Thalkor III has decreed that you shall be bonded to his daughter, Princess Emisha Telai, as thanks for your service to our people." She finally looked up, and Jack saw fear swimming in those alien eyes. "I am she." "I am Emma." Jack's mind reeled back 6 months. The distress call from Vex Prime, the illegal mining operation that had poisoned the colony's water supply. How he'd risked court-martial by diverting military resources to save 3,000 Shikari civilians when his superiors had deemed it not Earth's problem. "Your Highness," Jack began, softening his tone as he recognized genuine terror in her demeanor. "Please sit down." Emma hesitated, then perched on the edge of a chair like a bird ready to take flight. Jack pulled up another seat, deliberately keeping distance between them. "Let me be very clear," he said. "On Earth, we don't practice arranged marriages anymore. We certainly don't accept people as payment or tribute, no matter how well-intentioned. But the treaty, there is no treaty that could make me take a wife against her will." "Or mine." Jack leaned forward, his brown eyes earnest. "Emma, do you want this marriage?" The question seemed to stun her. The binding cloth in her hands shifted to a deep purple surprise, Jack's cultural database informed him. "Want?" she echoed. "No one has asked what I want. I'm asking." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the ship's ambient hum. Emma's hands twisted the cloth tighter. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked with suppressed emotion. "I want to study xenobiology. I want to see the crystal forests of Andara III. I want—" She looked up at him with something like wonder. "I want to choose." Jack smiled, the kind of warm, genuine expression that had earned him friends across a dozen star systems. "Then that's what you'll do? You would defy the Emperor?" Emma asked, her eyes widening. "He could declare war on Earth. Our fleet is impressive, but your Emperor isn't stupid," Jack interrupted. "He knows Earth didn't save your colony for political gain. We did it because it was right." He stood and walked to his desk, pulling up a holographic display. "Here's what's actually going to happen. You're going to contact your father and explain that humans don't accept forced marriages. You're going to tell him that I was honored by the gesture, but that true friendship between our species should be built on mutual respect, not medieval customs." Emma rose slowly, moving closer to examine the holographic star charts. "And if he insists? Then I'll tell him myself that his daughter is brilliant, brave, and deserves better than being treated like property, even royal property." Jack pulled up files on several universities. Earth has the finest xenobiology programs in this sector. I also happen to know the Dean of Interspecies Studies at Nova Oxford. If you're interested—" For the first time, Emma smiled. It transformed her entire face, and the binding cloth blazed gold joy, Jack recognized. "You would do this?" but you gain nothing. That's where you're wrong, Jack said, returning her smile. I gain the knowledge that I did the right thing, again. He extended his hand in the human gesture of friendship. Besides, humanity's real strength isn't in our weapons or our ships. It's in our stubborn insistence that every sentient being deserves dignity and choice. Emma stared at his hand, then carefully placed one of her own in his grip. Her skin felt cool and smooth like polished stone. This is why he sent me to you, she whispered. Father knew. He knew you would refuse. Jack's eyebrows rose. This was a test. A lesson, Emma corrected, and now her voice held newfound confidence. For me, to show me what true honor looks like. She straightened her spine, looking suddenly more princess than frightened girl. My father said if he accepts, he is not worthy of respect. If he refuses, he is not only worthy but wise. Watch and learn what it means to lead with conscience. Jack laughed, a deep, genuine sound that filled the chamber. Your father is either the craftiest diplomat in the galaxy or completely insane. Both. I think, Emma admitted, finally allowing herself a small laugh as well. So, Jack said, gesturing to the university files still glowing in the holodisplay. Shall we send that application? And maybe draft a message to your father thanking him for the most unusual diplomatic encounter of my career? Emma nodded, her binding cloth now a steady, brilliant gold. Yes, and Captain Harrison? Jack, please. Jack, she repeated, testing the human name. Thank you for showing me that strength can be gentle, and that refusing a gift can be the greatest respect of all. As they worked together composing messages that would reshape diplomatic relations between their worlds, Jack reflected that this moment of choosing compassion over custom, freedom over tradition, this was what made humanity extraordinary. Not their weapons, not their ships, but their unshakable belief that every being deserved the right to write their own story, and he suspected Emma's story was going to be remarkable indeed.